Aloha. Welcome to BearsWave.com podcast. We're coming to you from the 25th floor Bears Surf Shack, overlooking Waikiki Beach. Small kind waves today, but everyone's still having a lot of fun. So wax up your surfboards, everyone. We're going to paddle out for another great talk story session. We got a really good friend of mine and a great guest. Jeffrey Smith is here on microphone number 2. Aloha, Jeffrey.
Aloha, Bear.
And we got, of course, the Shane Woznick of
Hey,
Shock
everybody.
Film.
What's up?
Microphone number 2.
Aloha, Shane.
Or number 3, I guess you are. Yeah, so we've got a really great talk story session. Today we're going to go on a little bit of a journey. But before we do that, shall we start out with say hello to our sponsors?
Yeah, onnit.com, ONNIT.com.
Yeah, it's
the makers of Alpha Brain, the cognitive enhancing supplement. If you go to onnit.com and type in Bears Wave, you'll get 10% off Alpha Brain. And first 30 pills are free. If you don't like it, you can send it back.
Well, they're not. Yeah, they're not free. But if you don't like it, you can.
Yeah, if you don't like it, it's 100% money back guaranteed.
Yeah,
the first 30 pills.
And we love the product.
Well, what is the product?
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's you know, because I'm a vitamin taker. Do you take vitamins?
I do.
I've been taking vitamins for like 20 years. You know, and I'm always researching what's the newest and the best type of vitamins.
I take my Flintstones chewables.
Do you? Yeah, I could tell it works for you. By the way, Jeffrey has more tattoos than I do. By far.
I saw that, man.
A beautiful array of tattoos. Hey, before we finish this, I want you to try to describe each of these different tattoos.
Oh, man, we'll be here for 6 or 7 hours.
There's a really hot, beautiful hula girl dancing on the side looking at me. I think she's got a crush on me. Yeah, so onnit.com is I'm such a believer in this, in nootropics. Alpha Brain is really helps you. It's just like vitamins for the brain. You can go out and buy all this.
It just lets your brain... It just lets the synapses run fast, like boom,
yeah.
boom, boom.
It's not like your brain speeds up. It's just that there's a clarity, I think is another way to say it. The synapses are clicking.
Yeah.
And it's not like caffeine or something like that. You don't feel revved up. You just have clarity.
If you're a gamer, it really works for games.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
You can really win. Like, it's amazing. Your brain will just click, and you'll, like, if there's like a fighting game or something, or you're fighting someone on the internet, you'll be really good at that. It helps with dreams, writing.
It does. If you
take helps anything that you're using your brain for, you know.
If you take it, I take it first thing in the morning. I've learned to take it very first thing, and then I always have my breakfast is basically vitamins, you know. But the first thing I take is an Alpha Brain, and if I don't get up all my other vitamins, I'm sure I get my Alpha Brain in first. And then about 3 o'clock, I take another one because it just gives keeps your brain really healthy, so that when you do go to sleep later in the day. You know, at night, your brain more easily falls into the alpha state, and you have quite often lucid dreams where you're dreaming. And what happens is I don't wake up in the middle of the night anymore. I go into a deep sleep, and I sleep an extra 30 or 40 minutes. So that's excellent. And then I love the sport shroom.
Shroom Tech Sport.
Yeah, I mean, I always my routine is every day to do 7 to 10 miles of beach surf or some sort of workout, and I used to have to do that in 2 pieces, you know, 3.5, 4 or 5 miles, another 3 miles. But now I go out with, you know, I take 2 of those. And what it does is it helps your oxygen get into your blood more easily. Again, it's not an upper or anything like that, like some of the stuff you get, like, you know, sports energy drinks are just horrible for you. And so we use that, and I can go 10 miles in the sand. I mean, without having yeah, it's amazing. And then, of course, there's for people who do it like you, Shane. Since you were young, you never liked to sleep, and the shroom technology that's designed just for going to sleep, you take just before you're going to go to sleep. It really helps too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I take it all the time now. New Mood, I take that. It's for helping me go to sleep, and it boosts your serotonin.
Yeah.
And like even if I'm not gonna have like an 8-hour sleep, which is the recommended.
Yeah.
I'll feel like I've had almost 8 hours if it's like 7 or 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Because it lets you have a real deep sleep. You know?
I mean, for me, I don't like to sleep. I try not to go to sleep. I've got my mind that wants to read.
Well, if I'm editing and I have a great idea for the editing, and you know I'm in the zone, I don't want to stop, because if I do, I won't remember it. You know,
right.
It's just like when you you're writing something down and you're like, oh, I got some good ideas. My brain is going, it's working, everything's flowing. I don't want to stop,
Mm-hmm. But I find that you have more of a rhythm to your sleep now too, where you are able to stop. But yeah, you used to go for 10 days basically with never leaving your editing room.
That's my ADD,
It's a blessing. We're fortunate. I have ADHD, they say, and it's a blessing to me.
Yeah.
So we want to thank onit.com, and if you go there and you write in Bears Wave, you get a 10% discount. And like Shane said, if you don't like it, then you can always say, hey, I don't like it, and they'll give you your money back. You don't even have to send the vitamins back. And we have, I always like to say, who should we pick on today? If you are an Inuit in Alaska, is that the right word for the native Alaskans?
Yeah.
Or Sarah Palin, or any of those people up there in northern Sweden. There's an Inuit type of population up there too.
Yeah.
I don't think Sarah Palin's an Inuit though.
No, but she's in Alaska.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And way up there, if you want to know where the Bears Surf Shack studio is, you can go to surfnewsnetwork.com, one of our sponsors, and you can click on the Waikiki webcam, and it'll show you the view of the surf from our window. So that's a good way for you to get to know us. So now I guess we're done with our commercial.
Yeah, we're done.
Should we have a musical interlude from Jeffery Smith? He is not a performer. He's just someone who loves.
Not a performer at all.
He loves, like me. I like to sit under a coconut tree, hopefully one with no killer coconuts that fall on your head, and just play a little ukulele to relax. So let's hear a few strums before we get rolling.
I saw my dreams. We were walking hand in hand on a white sandy beach of Hawaii. Such a good song.
That's it. That's the song.
We were playing the ocean.
I don't think we practiced our singing part. His playing part is good. This is the song that, it's the most romantic song in Hawaii. Walking hand in hand.
Yeah, it is.
That's a pretty high key though to sing it in. So all you people who are used to coming to visit us in Hawaii and you need a little bit of ukulele, there you go. From Jeffery Smith. Beautiful. So ukulele, do you know what it means, Jeffrey?
Jumping flea.
Jumping flea.
Yeah.
Uk means flea, and lele means like to dance or to jump.
Yeah.
So
Jumping
ukulele,
flea.
jumping flea. So that was sweet. That was sweet. Next time though, we'll practice a little bit, and I can play my ukulele with you then.
I noticed you weren't hitting the notes when I was down here on the higher
Those are high.
frets.
Yeah, I don't think we.
So you're...
Shane started out good, and then we kind of took a U-turn there. I tried for about like a.
I saw you in my dreams.
Yeah.
Clear my voice.
I was trying to step in, and I realized I was nowhere in the same room with you guys. Do you know I have to read the audio version of my book, right, Shane? Starting like tomorrow.
We're doing that tomorrow. Yeah.
And I think I had too much caffeine or something.
Caffeine can ruin.
The acid bothers my throat, so now I got to read an entire book with a throat that's a little bit.
Yeah, you can't have caffeine when you're using your voice. I mean, some people can, but.
So now I know.
A lot of people can't. Like milk, you can't have.
So
milk.
we're gonna have. There's gonna be an audio version of Deep in the Wave. My literary manager just sold the rights to that. Oh, actually, Hachette picked up the rights to that too. So that's kind of cool. And so that's all coming out on, believe it or not, 60 days from today. 2 months exactly for Deep in the Wave. But we're going to go on a little bit of journey today with Jeffrey and Shane and myself, because Jeffrey and I both ride bicycles. But what we have in common with Shane is we've all made this journey from the Hawaiian Islands over to California in different types of boats. Mm-hmm. So let's start with the smallest boat and work our way up. So Jeffrey, you went last summer. What kind of boat was it on?
I left August 28th, and the reason I remember the date so vividly is because it was the first day of the best swell we've had on the South Shore in 20 years, and I was sailing away for 18 days.
That's why it came up.
Yeah,
because you were leaving. that was during just after the Duke Ocean Fest, and I was so sick.
Yeah, right after that.
I have not been that ill since I had pneumonia in high school. I was laid out for 6 weeks, and I didn't catch one of those waves.
Yeah.
I looked at them, and all I could do is look out the window.
It was
and
epic.
see
I've seen a lot of pictures, and
it was huge. How big? What was the biggest?
We left
wave?
Alawai Yacht Harbor the first day.
How did you get out?
It was a big boat and it had 2 powerful diesel motors in it.
The Alawai? You came out of the
Yacht
Alawai?
Harbor, yeah, right there by the Hawaii Yacht Club.
You had to time it just right.
Yeah, we had a really good captain, and we came out of the channel, and it was easy 10-foot faces.
Yeah.
Coming in when we went out.
Do you remember that old footage of the guys sailing out in a catamaran? It's like 40-year-old film, and they see them trying to get out of that harbor, and the wave bringing them up and pitch pulling them backwards over the falls, and the whole catamaran just Hobie cats.
I seen a kind of a picture of it may be the same. I didn't see a video of it, but I seen a picture of that at the same harbor. Probably the same situation.
They came out with double-hulled catamaran. It came in like 10 seconds, 30 seconds later, there was only one hull.
Yeah. Yeah, we went out,
Wow.
and the captain he timed it and took a chance and punched it. And there's a bunch of guys surfing the point right there, so of course all the photographers were standing across the channel.
Yeah.
And when we went out, we shot the bow out of the water, and everyone started yelling, cheering.
Wow.
So, yeah. Boom.
No one else was coming out of that harbor.
Oh,
He
absolutely
had
not.
double engines.
Yeah.
And what kind of sailboat was it?
It's a 108-foot sailing yacht.
You know what?
Aluminum hold.
So it wasn't like a name yacht. It was
It's
like a custom
Avalon.
name. Oh, an Avalon.
No, that was the name of the yacht.
The
It was
Avalon.
Avalon. It was a custom made ship.
Is it named on the islands? Is it named after the Avalon on Catalina Island or the one over in Europe? Do you know?
I'm not sure. It was its birth was up in New Hampshire somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah, and
So isn't that cool? I mean, this boat's all the way over here in Hawaii. And
well, this boat here the boat itself has a really great story. A good friend of mine from Maui was the captain of one of the little charter ships that would take people out snorkeling and whatnot around the island.
Yeah.
And
What was his name?
his name was Justin Juarez.
Justin Juarez.
And he got
Aloha
the
Justin.
opportunity. Aloha Justin, yeah. And he owns a little island down in Panama now, building a surf ship.
He owns a little island.
He's a great guy, but
Is he like one of those
little beach
dictators?
spot.
Is
No,
he like
no.
a Panamanian?
He owns on the beach on an island, not the whole island.
Okay.
But and he got the job offer on Maui to be the captain of the Avalon. So he sailed to Florida, and for the last 8 years, he's been sailing it around the world. Whenever the owner calls him, the owner doesn't
says,
stay
"Hey,
on it.
I
He
wanna-
just calls him and says, "Be in Tahiti in 3 weeks."
Be in
so
Kitties,
Justin sails to
be
Tahiti.
in Trafalgar.
And
Be
the guy shows up, stays on it for 3 or 4 days, and goes, "Okay, see you later."
Oh.
So Justin's been doing this for the last 8 years, and he sails it from New Zealand up to here, stopping in Tonga and Samoa and Fiji and Marquesas and all that. And a couple of the guys left and went back to New Zealand, so he asked if I wanted to help him sail it to California because he needed a couple more hands. And I was lucky enough.
And
to
you
be
never
able to-
called me. Of course, I was too sick anyway. But jeez, I would have jumped on that chance.
It was awesome. I was
Well,
lucky enough to get the time off work, and my wife, being the wonderful wife that she is, said she could manage without me for 2 weeks. And and then we sailed and left here. Like I said, August 28th, about 7 in the morning.
How and the best food I bet in the world. Huh?
We had a chef on board.
Yeah. The thing
course,
about boats,
3 times a day,
boats tend to have great food because that's about all
Yeah.
you got to look forward to sometimes.
It was with a lot of sleeping, a lot of eating, and the weather for the first.
How was the sleeping?
It was well. That's
Did
what
you
I
have a
was gonna
good
say.
berth?
The weather for the first. I have my own room with my own shower, everything.
You were able to? You were getting tossed out of your bed or anything?
Not at
like
all.
that?
You had a lean sheet, so whenever the boat
that's
was
so
up on
good.
the high side, then you didn't roll out of bed. But
That's so important. A little thing like that makes a huge difference in how much sleep you get.
Huge.
What's a lean sheet?
I've
Explain
always been
that.
a really good
So
sleeper.
it's a
though.
long time to really think about your life too, and like where you are. And,
Absolutely.
It's meditation.
How long was your passage, Shane? When you were on
2.5 weeks or 3.5
and you were
weeks? No,
and you were
3.5 weeks.
and you were on a.
I was on like those boats in the Deadliest Catch. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it was-
exactly
It was
what
like
you were on.
it was basically like that size.
Yeah,
the
but
same
it was a
size.
research vessel, but it was
Yeah,
designed for
it
hauling
was designed
stuff.
for that, but it had a sonar thing on it, and it was mapping the ocean, and they were selling it.
Yeah,
to
Vince and
Google
Joanne
and to military. They were selling
Yeah.
it to them. They make money, lots
Yeah.
of money doing that.
Yeah. How long was your passage, Jeffrey?
15 days there.
I was on a little bit bigger boat. I was on
Just
an
a little
aircraft
bit.
carrier, the Bonhomme Richard, and I was lucky enough because my son Jeremiah was stationed on that ship on the flight deck, and you can do what's called a Tiger Cruise if you're a parent. When he was coming over from one of his deployments in Afghanistan, and I got to get on that aircraft carrier and sail to San Diego, man.
That's pretty cool too, though.
Yeah.
I've heard
A
those
different
things,
experience.
Giant cities on the water, almost, huh?
Yeah. You know what though? Those are not comfortable places. I mean, there was no place to sit. If you had your berth, if you had a place you could lay down and where you would sleep, which is only like 2.5 or 3 feet high, and otherwise you were sitting like on. I was figuring nice, comfortable couches. I get a lot of reading in, but there was just.
They want those guys to be on their feet doing
Dude,
something
they're
the
working.
whole time.
They are.
Yeah, they don't want
but
them
they're
to get
way
too
out.
comfy.
But they had a great weight room.
I was trying to. I was on the boat. I was doing a documentary, and every day I was on it, I was like, dude, there's nothing to film. Like,
Just a lot of water.
Every single day, it's the same shots.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Where's the Leviathan when we need him?
The crew didn't really want me to film him that much, but I did.
Yeah, because the only thing that would have happened there exciting was probably petty drama amongst the crew.
Totally.
And they don't want to show that.
The only
Talking
thing
about
that was
exciting.
Yeah.
I want to tell you one of the things that, and being on a big ship like this was new to me, but it had everything on it. I mean, it had GPSs. It had, I don't remember exactly what the call
internet
of this thing was, but if you see another ship within 500 miles, it tells you where the ship's coming from, where it's going, the name of it, all that.
Yeah.
And same with airplanes that would come in.
Oh, really?
So one night, I believe it was our third night out, and we keep getting this Coast Guard airplane, and it's circling us. Mm-hmm. And so finally, it was me and the first mate were on watch. You would do 3 hours on watch, 6 hours off. So
and what did it mean to be on watch?
You just basically watch, make sure that all the gauges are going right. If you're running under motor power, you check the motor every hour. If you're running under sail, you check the sails every couple minutes. Just make sure you're doing a good speed, not putting too much pressure on the riggings and whatnot.
You sound like you're an experienced salesman. Sailor.
Salesman. Well, both.
Seaman.
But, so anyway, it's the third night, and Nate Stone, wonderful guy, and him and I are on watch, and so finally he finds the frequency this Coast Guard plane's on.
But did you get to log in?
I would, yeah.
You got to do in the captain's log? Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so anyway, so here it comes.
He calls this Coast Guard plane up and says, Coast Guard cutter, it was Beaver 302 or whatever. Says, this is sailing out Avalon, and says, something going on out there? And he says, oh yeah, we need you to change your course. And so why is that? He goes, well, we failed to intercept a missile that's been fired towards Hawaii, and it's heading in your direction.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, what did he just say missile?
A missile?
And Nate looks at me and goes, I think we should wake the captain up. So yeah, I think we should. So we go down.
And you know what? Did they have that real casual way of talking?
Not a hint of fear in his voice.
Could be
or
good
anything.
for you guys.
So Nate and I are kind of like, wow, what's going on? And we go wake up the captain, and Justin comes out, and he goes, this is a captain. So, and this really happened. I'm a little nervous at this point. Guys, tells Justin the same thing. Yeah, we failed to intercept this missile. It's going to be landing in your direction within the next couple hours in your immediate vicinity. And Justin says, yeah, we're making pretty good speed right now. So if we change direction, we're really going to lose a lot of time. Yeah. I kind of like the way we're going. I'm looking at Justin thinking, what? He looks at me.
It's like the Titanic.
He looks at me and says,
all over again.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
No.
Wow.
Really?
So, and the Coast Guard guy comes back with, well, you don't have to change direction, Avalon, but you have a missile coming at you.
Yeah, and you're
so
like,
that it was at that where Justin's kind of like, okay, we'll change. What heading do you want us to go to?
Yeah,
but
was it in the? Did
was
they
it a torpedo or was
it was a practice missile fired from like off Barking Sands or something? They tried to intercept them off Kauai.
Oh, it was sent off
one
of
Hawaii.
Those.
Yeah, and they failed to intercept it, so it just kept going.
Yeah,
but it's not a warhead.
Yeah, but it could still hurt.
It would sink a boat
if it hit you on your head.
Does it track? Does it track heat or something like?
No,
just on it is just going.
Yeah, it was supposed to be shot down, but it didn't. They didn't quite get it.
Right. If it was.
But when the Coast Guard called you, like I was, I'm a private pilot, and I was flying one day, and I hear this guy get on the radio, and he goes, "Yeah, Honolulu Tower. Anyway, you could bump us a little bit. They put him on a circling route, right? Because there was some big Bravo-sized jets coming in, and they go, is there a anyway, you could bump us a little bit ahead of some of those other planes, but in a real casual way. And he goes, why are you having some issues, Cessna, for whatever the call letters were? And he goes, yeah, I pretty much. He said it much more casually than I said, but yeah, I'm concerned we're going to not have enough fuel to make the landing. But he did it. He said it in such a, and that's. I know, yeah. So when the Coast Guard calls, he goes, yeah, Avalon. Kind of wondering if you'd like to change your course direction a little bit. We suggest that you change your heading to such and such. And then the captain gets on, and he's just as casual.
Just as calm.
That's the way. Yeah. That's the type of. Now, when you sailed with me, huh, Shane?
Well, they described like when you're landing the airplane that one time. they described like it was one of your first flights. Like I think you were heading towards some fence or something. And,
in Molokai,
like,
in the crosswind.
He was describing it to me, the guy that was with you. That was
really? That's funny.
He's like, yeah, that would have been a little, He's just the way he described, like you guys were gonna.
Yeah, I did.
But like he described it like it was no big deal. Like that would have been a little casual.
It wasn't one of my first ones either. It was my test flight to see if I could take the final test to get my private license. But I'd never flown with this guy before, and we landed in Molokai on the crosswind. And then he said, "Okay, let's just zip it around and let's take off again." So I followed his instructions. I zipped it around and gunned it. But personally, I didn't feel comfortable doing that. I should have waited a little bit, lined up a little bit more of the runway, and then taken off. And I was the private pilot in command. It was my responsibility to say no to him if I didn't want to do that. But instead, I just started gunning it. And private planes, propeller planes have this left turning tendency. Like there's 2 or 3 reasons why they like to turn left, especially when you're going down the runway, because the circulation of the propeller and things like that. And so we're taking off, basically aiming right at the sign.
Oh yeah,
And he grabbed the controls and just made it. He said, and he goes casually, "Yeah, it's a lot of paperwork to fill out."
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, I guess like with the ship and stuff. There's no point in panicking.
What good is it going to do?
That what good is it going to do?
Yeah, when I go out to sea with someone, because I had my sailboat, and I don't know why I almost always sailed alone. And it's probably because I wasn't that casual of a captain, right? Haul in that line, things like. But I remember taking it in my it was only a 27-foot Catalina. Its name was Tandem Girl. I took it out on its sea trial, and they go, "You don't want to go out today. It's Victory at Sea." And I go, "No, but that's when you want to test a boat. Can it handle these conditions?" And they go, "Oh, okay." And they were so casual at the helm. We sailed. We went under power out. Couldn't dream about being under sail. And we got out of the harbor at Ventura Harbor, and we went to make the turn, and I'm going, "Oh my God!" I'm looking at this. I'm looking at these waves just crunching. There's no one in the water. It's just like this explosive sea, and they're like, "Yeah, you might want to bring it about another 10 or 20 degrees." Talking real casual like that, and I think, "You don't understand. We're all gonna die."
Yeah.
So those people, those types of captains, they're also casual. That's how you can tell if they're good, if they kind of just.
Yeah.
If they kind of have that.
Because it's all about focusing. Because if you panic, you're not focusing.
Yeah, keep calm
it's all
under
about
pressure.
Focusing, because you can get out of it if you focus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That kind of jumping the subject about the being casual and whatnot, but you said a 27-foot Catalina, and
that's a cork.
Reminded me of when we were down there getting the Avalon to sail out in Alawai Yacht Harbor. There was a guy there named David, this Canadian fellow who had never sailed in his lifetime before. He had a sea kayak, and he was doing the coast from California up to Alaska. Really? And he got as far as Washington, he met this couple who was, they were sailing sailing around the world, and it blew his mind. He wanted to do that. So they like Xeroxed all their charts for him. This guy never sailed before, okay?
No kidding.
Xeroxed all their charts for him, gave him charts. He sold his sea kayak, everything, bought a 20-foot boat, 20-foot single-masted sailboat, right? And sailed it here to Hawaii. Oh. No motor, nothing. His bow light was like a little kerosene lantern on it. Yeah. By himself.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's
like, that takes a lot of balls.
Because I sailed by myself. I always had that rope out the back of the boat. They call it the long line, in case I fell off, that I could grab that rope. At the very end of that line is that you trail off the end of the boat? It's called the bitter end. And it's very interesting because that's where so many of our common everyday, when you sail, it's like when you sail all the time and you're using all those nautical terminologies, and then you're on the land and you hear people use nautical terms. They don't even know it's a nautical term. That it was like, I don't even know. For example, don't miss the boat. For example, if you miss the boat, you basically miss the boat. The boat leaves the harbor without you. What else did you experience on that passage? Give me any beautiful.
Yeah. Well, we've seen a lot of sea life once we got a little closer to California. One day alone, we seen whales, seals, and dolphins. We had a pod of dolphins with us for about 3 days. Wow! And it just cruising with us the whole time. That was really nice.
It's interesting how and you experience this too.
Hundreds of them.
How the ocean changes as you're traveling. You begin to realize it's getting colder, and the water is a different color
you hit
blue.
the Alaska current that.
What we did was we didn't shoot straight up. We went out northwest and then cut back down.
Yeah, which is the way you got to
do it.
So you're you have to go way up above that high pressure system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're almost going north of San Francisco. Where did you end up at?
We were up around north of San Francisco and then back down to Marina Del Rey.
Yeah, so you go way up north and you cut back down, which is about a 400 miles overshoot, and then you come back down.
That's what Vince had to do, because when we're on our way in, all of a sudden the waves just start getting bigger and bigger, and
yeah, they were outrunning a hurricane.
You can't. There's no way you could go against it. It's too powerful. It will ruin the boat if you just keep going against those waves. It's gonna break.
Just beat it to pieces, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's nothing getting around nature.
We got lucky with the weather though. We had perfect weather. It was, just enough wind. The first 10 days, we hadn't had the seas weren't over 4 feet. Yeah. And then 108.
What was how many knots was your normal sail?
Well, then we got a little storm came up. The seas went up to about 20 foot.
Whoa.
And the max knots we were going was 12 knots at one point.
Really?
And that's pretty fast.
That's really fast.
And we had to reef the sails down.
That feels like 100 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you hit one of those waves and shoot the bow up and then bury the whole side. And it was definitely, it was exciting though. And you're still in the boat and, the
captain's asleep down in his bunk.
Captain's asleep. The chef's making pizza for dinner. Well,
think about here's the ultimate sailing captain. Think about Jesus in the bow of that boat when all the guys, Peter and everybody he wasn't a sailor, he was a carpenter, right? But all these fishermen are freaking out that they're going to die, and Jesus is just down there casually, just kind of like, so what's up? Why you guys wake me up? I'm trying to get some sleep down here. That's the kind of captain that you want.
Yeah, Justin was a great captain. He was definitely at home on that boat for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and so what did you go across that area? I know, Shane, what was that area? I don't remember seeing it, but you went through the debris field. Did you go?
Yeah,
what was that like?
Supposedly, actually, Vince was telling me that there's that part of the ocean. There's just
about 3 miles.
Yeah, it's like a giant
garbage water.
Did you go through it?
We didn't go through it. We went.
It's a vortex.
Yeah, it
kind of by it,
real slow, but
yeah, and you can get tangled in that stuff.
We would start seeing stuff, and at one point we actually had to fall off because there was a massive net.
Right.
And I can't spread my arms out long enough for people listening to this, but it was, if we were to hit it, then we would have spent probably 10 hours underneath cutting it off.
No, that's the problem. I remember sailing.
That happened to Vince's boat too.
He had to dive off, right?
We had to get off. It was cool though. Like we jumped off. It wasn't that big of a. It was actually to him, but
that debris field's got to be interesting to fish because of the shadows and stuff, and then the fish makes it interesting to sharks. So he's jumping off and he's going under to try to untangle the nets.
It's so bizarre because you're out there and all of a sudden you see like a McDonald's cup or something, and you're like, "Whoa, that's weird."
We've seen a lot of plastic.
Mm-hmm. That is strange.
Plastic.
Right out in the middle of nowhere, you see plastic.
Or giant, massive net. The net I can see, I can understand.
The plastic bottles.
I seen a cooler floating by.
Yeah. Well, even now with the Japanese thing,
they have those giant trash islands now out in the ocean. Like there's one in the Indian Ocean.
Right.
You can type it on the internet. Trash islands.
Yeah.
On all.
But it's sketchy.
There's like 7 of them.
It's sketchy. I was sailing I was just sailing by the Channel Islands in my Catalina. Like I said, no one ever wanted to sail with me. Maybe I wasn't a very good captain, but no, I used to always basically just sail alone. That was my private time. I had my private pirate flag flying, but I remember getting stuck in a lobster rope. And here I am out at sea. The wind is blowing. I take my sail down and everything. It doesn't mean it doesn't want to move. The boat itself was like a sail, and having to dive under the boat and hang onto the boat at the same time and cut away.
Especially this lobster trap out there.
Yeah, I guess
those islands. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
There's a lot of sharks out there in the Channel Islands, California.
Yeah, yeah. They say right at the Santa Monica Pier that there's more great whites in that area during certain times of year than any place else in the world. They like to mate right in that area or something, right by the Santa Monica Pier.
It's because it's away from like all the polluted areas of California, like LA areas.
Yeah,
and it's out like further away from that onto the islands, and there's deeper and there's more life over there. So
the men in the gray suit.
The man
in the gray suit. Yeah. So so now let's talk about another journey. So we love our sailing. We can keep coming back to that too.
It was great.
But now Jeffrey, you were raised in Hawaii. You were born in Hawaii or
Kauai.
What? Kauai, but you were born in the islands.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, talk story about Kauai a little bit.
Oh well, it's it's great. It's a little sleepy over there for me still. That's why I've been over here since '99. But
the happening place of the
it's
gathering
pretty mellow
place.
over there, huh, in Kauai.
They roll up the sidewalks at sunset, but that's great. I mean, it's very outdoors if you want to go hiking and surfing. The waves are okay over there. But
for all of you people
Andy
in
Irons grew
Estonia,
up there, right? Andy Irons.
but
and,
for everybody
Bruce
in
Irons.
Siberia listening to our podcast, all he's trying to do is he's trying to discourage people from coming there and surfing.
But
there is great waves in
A lot
Kauai.
of great surfers came out of Kauai.
But there is great waves there. But then
There's great
if
waves.
you finally admit to it, because you don't want people to know there is, but when you finally admit to it, then you always
It's
add
Hawaii,
what
yeah.
key phrase do you add to that?
But they're really hard to find.
No. But it's very sharky.
But it's very sharky. Yeah. I
So
just say that anyway.
If people finally give it up, if you finally give up
Yeah.
your secret surf spot, you got to always add that little caveat, which may or may not be
Just throw
true.
in- Oh, but there's always watch out for that one tiger that lives out there.
Yeah, and his friend, his gang.
Yeah, well, they're in Kauai. There's a lot more of that, like local. Like they don't mess around. Like when people come into town, they're out of towners. They don't. I mean, it seems like there's more of that, like, you know.
Like localism.
Yeah, localism. Like don't.
Oh,
surf
in the
here, get out
lineup,
of here.
in the lineup, you got to show respect.
There are
Yeah.
certain spots that people allow to be infiltrated, so
Yeah.
to speak, by people. But if you go over
Like
there,
Poipu, anybody can
Well, I know-
surf it. But
I
if you're gonna
know-
go surf Honolulu.
there's
Yeah.
a couple spots in Honolulu. You don't go over on the left.
You always go check in
one
with
of my-
Titus first.
One of the,
Kinamaka.
when I was at YWAM, there's a guy that lives over there. It's over in Manoa. It's a camp over there, and this guy, I forgot his name, but his brother went to Kauai, like I think like in the 70s, and he went missing, and they never found him. Like he wasn't a surfer or anything. He didn't drown.
Well,
or
that
anything.
a lot of that happened a lot in the '70s actually, because a lot of people would go back on the Kalalau Trail, which is along the Nepali coastline. Some of the most beautiful places in the world, and people have disappeared there just because they've fallen off
It's
of a cliff
treacherous.
or they've went swimming in the ocean is very sharky.
That's what you
very
say.
dangerous.
And if people don't
Yeah.
know, Kauai like has some beautiful shots from like it's really famous for like movies with Elvis and Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and the thing is that people say in Hawaii there aren't a lot of shark attacks, but there's a lot of people missing.
Yeah.
So we don't know. There aren't that many people missing, but the missing people, we wonder. Well,
And there's the ghost
maybe that was a
stories and
shark.
Well, actually, there was a shark attack just a couple weeks ago, about maybe a month ago, up on the North Shore at Leftovers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know where that spot got its name, don't you?
No.
Part of a guy's body washed up.
Oh yeah.
We had tiger shark teeth marks on it.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I know where.
At least that's
I know.
what
I know. I know where.
that's-
I know the spot near there where marijuana's how it got
Yeah.
its name. Because one morning people were
Marijuana's
walking
the
along the
first
beach
one.
and there were bales of marijuana washed up on the beach there. It's interesting because Tom Pohaku Stone, the professor of surfing, he knows when the names of the surf spots tell a whole lot. Know the
absolutely.
name. It tells a whole lot about that place. And but the Hawaiians had names for every reef. Surfers. If you're not a surfer, you may not know this, but every reef has its own name. Surfers know every surf spot, every place there's a little river coming out or a point of land or a surfable place. That isn't just called, hey, that's a Waikiki beach. No, here in Waikiki we have probably 18. Let's see if we can name them. Starting out at, you can go all the way out to Cliffs at Diamond Head, coming into Suicides,
And Tongs.
Tongs, and then Old Man's. Oh, and the launching pads, and then
Old Man's.
Rice Bowls, Old Man's,
Publix.
and
And Queens.
Queens. Oh, before Queens, there's the spot out there,
Well,
Kunas.
That's only certain
And of course,
times
way
when it's breaking
outside,
really
it's
big,
castles. And then you keep moving, and you got canoes, and then you got baby.
Yeah, see, that's another thing
royals,
too,
and
though.
then
It
pops.
depends on the size of what spot's breaking.
Yeah,
like,
what it's called.
If it's super big, you're gonna be surfing Kunas.
Yeah, if it's not that big, it's rice bowls. If it's really big,
Yeah.
launching pads launches you into rice bowls. So all of these reefs, we as surfers have given them a name, and usually for a reason. But the ancient Hawaiians gave them names too, and Tom told me it's a fascinating study to learn, the history of those different surf spots. So you're from Kauai, and then you became. Tell us about one of your best rides, best surfing experiences. It doesn't mean big or classic. It might be romantic.
That's I really not to let you down or anything, but I really hate it when people ask that question. It's just because I just enjoy the act of getting on my board and paddling out
Okay,
every day.
this is beautiful. That's what I want to hear.
Every wave I take, it's like just the other day I paddled out. I was out for half an hour max, but I just wanted to run out and get a couple waves. I had some stuff to do, and I got two beautiful. I just went right to canoes, the little sandbar, and the water was milky. I couldn't even see my feet because they're dredging all the sand out and everything.
Yeah.
I took off right by that little yellow buoy, and I got two beautiful, beautiful little left-handers, and I was just stoked. Just as stoked as if I was surfing, Kailea or something on Kauai.
Exactly, me too. That's the way I am too. I love every single.
It's really hard to. I mean, I've had some definitely better than others, but
people who complain about the surf, it's like. I was standing down by Duke's, and this Howley came down. Didn't know what he was talking about. He's talking to his visitors, and this guy lived in Hawaii, but I don't know where he was from originally. Has his guest. Oh yeah, this is Waikiki. The waves are always crap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Is that how you talk about your wife? I mean, because to me the ocean is like a woman. You love her in all of her moods and all of her ways. And if the waves bring. If it's pristine and clear and beautiful, or if there's no waves, or if there's big waves, people always tell me, "Did you check the surf report?" Nowadays, people check the surf report. That's why we have Surf News Network, and we've lost that wonder of walking
down the street and
to check the waves.
Absolutely,
that's the way I still live. Of course, I live on the beach, and you do too.
Same here. Yeah, it's not a task.
But
for
I mean,
us anymore.
people ask me, hey, there's a big swell coming in. To me, I don't take any notice of that because I'm going to surf every day anyway. Yeah. I'm going to not miss out on the small or the big or the offshore or the onshore or the rain or, it doesn't matter to me. And for me to hear that guy talk about the ocean like that was like, it pierced my heart. Like he was talking about my girlfriend, like he was putting her down, it really hurt me.
Yeah. Some people you're never going to make happy though.
Okay. So Jeffrey, there's another area of your life that you really love. And is it kind of recent that you started doing road bicycling?
I've always ridden bikes, but I've just started doing it competitively.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean? Okay, first of all, you've always been doing bikes. What does that mean?
I've always been riding. I've always had a bike, and
road bikes.
Road
mostly.
bikes. Yeah. I've always used it for transportation, but just recently, I've got a little more serious and started doing distance rides and doing races, time trials. Things of that nature.
What does that mean, time trial?
Time trial is just going from one point to another point as fast as you possibly can.
Did you ever get the yellow shirt?
And no,
did they use yellow shirts?
I haven't done the Tour de France yet.
Oh, that doesn't matter. That's just Tour de France.
Yeah, that's like most of the big races in the cycling series. You get different colored jersey for.
Yeah, I used to always be in France during the Tour de France. It was always going on when I was there.
I would love that. Would be awesome. I would love to go see that.
Yeah, during the Lance Armstrong days.
Yeah, I get up and I did 52 miles this morning before I came over here.
You just rode your bike a long ways too, Shane, huh? Okay, so what is it, 52 miles? What does that mean? From where to where?
Not recently, but yeah.
Yeah, last year.
I just went from my house to Makapu and then back. And
how many miles?
52.
Wow.
What's the elevation gain? Do you know? Do you have any way of knowing that?
The maximum when I'm coming over Cocoa Head, I would guess maybe 600 feet.
Have you ever used one of those Garmin GPS watches?
I have not.
You would love it.
Yeah, a friend of mine's a
I have it
runner,
right
and he
here.
has one of those.
Yeah, it'll tell you that your elevation gain for the whole circuit.
Yeah.
So 52 miles round trip to Maka. That's how far it is? I didn't think it was that far.
Well, I did a lot of side roads. On the way back, I go back up in the valleys. I come back over by the school there, the little Hawaii Kai skate park, and I go right and go up Lunalila Home Road to the inn, turn around and come back to the next road, go up, and go back up the valleys because it's little hills and it's good for your legs and whatnot.
Do you go one way? Do you go along the beach on Sandy Beach?
Yeah.
That opening between Hawaii Kai, between Portlock and Sandy's, do you take the road?
On the way out there, we'll go up and go over the cliffs past Tanama Bay.
Yeah, because that's sketchy and narrow.
That's kind of scary. I was with about 11 other people this morning. So
that's cool. You're in a group.
That's good.
I've never done that.
It's better to do it that way.
When I'm by myself, I don't ever go over the cliffs though.
Right.
I always take the back road, up by the golf course.
Yeah.
And then that's the road we take on the way back.
Yeah.
Goes by the golf course.
I'll tell you a secret. When my kids were little, I never understood. I still do a lot of walking. I mean, I walk miles every day, and I used to do a lot of hiking in the mountains, and it'd be so hot, and I'd see these mountain bikers come buzzing by me, and I'm like, finally figured out, wait a minute, they've got air conditioning.
Yeah.
And they're going and seeing things I haven't seen before. I don't get as far as they go. So I finally invested in a mountain bike. But I used to see these people riding by in these funny pants, and stuff, and I thought, well, they must love to be miserable. So I did something very evil. I used to have my washer, the washer thing on the front of my van, aimed out. So I would spray it when we could go by. That was. Do you think that? Do
Try
you
to
think?
cool them off a little.
Yeah, I got doing him a favor, getting cooling him off a little.
So,
But then I became one of those people. Then I, I think I told you before the show that I've never really talked about what I did when I rode my bicycle across the United States. I pedaled my bicycle from San Diego to Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I became one of those people. With that, I was one of those people where you're riding on, and before that I just rode mountain bikes, and so now I'm on a road bike, and I realized, what it's like to be like
whole different world.
Yeah, it's hazardous. I mean, mountain biking, you thought that sounds sexy because you're up in the mountains and all the. No, riding on the road is dangerous.
It's dangerous, but it's so exhilarating too because you can get going so fast.
Yeah, well, that's also kind of I've trained as a ninja, in a black belt. As I'm a black, and I've trained in that art a lot leading up to my cross country bicycle ride. And one of the things they used to teach us to do is a lot of rolls. Like if you're gonna fall, don't brace.
You'll learn how to crash.
I mean, we used to jump off of a car and then onto the cement and just roll and learn to dissipate our energy. And I was uncomfortable going that fast. But when you're riding on a bicycle, this is true. 90% of the time you're going up a hill, because going down the hill is so fast.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, even if everyone else, you're in a car, it looks level, it's not level.
Yeah.
You're always going up hills. That your whole life as a guy on a bicycle is going up hills, right? Well, try going over the Rocky Mountains. The hardest part actually was going over the Pacific, the mountains between San Diego and the desert. Those were like straight up, and it was the first day. But when I was in El Paso, which was almost halfway, San Antonio was really halfway across the United States, but you get to know every single county, right? Because parts of the interstate you can ride on where there aren't good side roads. So I would ride those from once I got over the top of the local mountains in California, the coastal mountains. I was on the freeway all the way to San Antonio, and it was only then that I got off the freeway and was riding side roads. But I remember coming down El Paso. They were doing road construction. The road was beautiful.
The road's like where Jay Leonard drives his cars around, right? It's
just beautiful roads. I mean, like, because you learn to appreciate pavement when you're on a bike, right?
Absolutely.
In the mountains, it's all you like the technical stuff. But if you get when I did the side roads, you'd come to the county line and you never knew what was waiting you, because the side roads are all maintained by the counties, right?
Right.
And then they've grooves and oh my gosh, my speed's going down to nothing, or one county's kind of poor and there's a bunch of potholes, and you get to the next county, it's all paved and looking great. But coming out of El Paso, things were wonderful. And I was coming down the hill, and it was just me and my daughter Naomi Fawn, who's coming out here in a couple of weeks, and she would hand me goo food. Poor thing. She would go like several miles in front of me and then wait for me and then leapfrog in front of me again.
You got to talk about when she's on here too.
She drove. Yeah, we should.
Yeah, totally.
But anyway, she was handing me goo food, the stuff you can just squirt in your mouth,
like
so you don't have to
hammer
stop.
gels and stuff.
What is it called?
Hammer gels.
I think that's
Like
what it was.
Space food, like NASA food.
Yeah, nasty food.
Astronaut food.
And I use that thing called Cytomax. I call it Psychomax because I never really had cramps because I use this great mineral type water. But anyway, I couldn't get a hold of it. I missed it once. I missed it twice. And the third time I looked when I tried to get it, and my bike, I flipped my bicycle. And it was so cool because, I mean, when I flipped it, it was automatic muscle memory. I didn't try to reach out with my hands. I just ducked and rolled, and I think my bicycle.
Ninja roll.
Yeah, I did my ninja rolls. All that years of training had only one reason.
So you can crash your bike properly.
Yeah, and I got right up. The bike wasn't injured, and I just wasn't damaged, and I just.
Were you clipped into the pedals?
Yeah, but it wasn't the kind. It was the kind where you could just move your foot to the left, and they would unclip. But that's an interesting thing. Do you have those kind?
Yeah, I have. Well, you clip in the toe, and then right the ball of your foot.
You kind of rotate.
You become
it a bit.
one with the bike.
Yeah.
Well, I was riding through a little town in somewhere in the south, like not Georgia, but someplace like that, and it was like county fair day or something. There was a little parade, and I'd come up to a stop sign, and I was tired, and I just remember. Forgot to move I went to move my foot to the left and it didn't, and you know what, of course, what happens, I just fall on my side.
Yeah.
I go across 2,000 miles of open road, and then I get in this little village and
just fall over. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you love about it?
Oh, I think it's the seeing how far you can go every time.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, I went 50 miles, and tomorrow I'm going to go 60. And then once you've reached a point where we are on an island.
Yeah.
You're not going to go any
It is
farther.
crazy.
You start seeing how fast you can do it. Well,
Yeah.
I did it in an hour and a half last week. I'm going to try to do an hour and 20 this week.
Yeah, so it's a game
You know,
for you too.
and-
For 50
Yeah.
miles, hour
And
and a half.
I did it 2 hours and 15 minutes today
Wow.
And that was how many miles?
for about 52 miles.
Yeah, see, you
Wow.
can. I mean, that's really flying. I would do like somewhere. I always seem to run out of steam at about mile 78
all
or
about
so.
fueling up, though. You got to
Yeah.
eat the
Yeah.
right things. So I've switched my diet. I don't eat red meat anymore.
Oh.
And I eat almost all organic now. Everything's plant-based.
Are you eating?
Do you eat chicken?
What's your?
I still do chicken and
Yeah.
Are you eating,
fish and pork
do you-
every once in a while.
Are you doing low carbs or
No.
high protein or what do you do?
I do a lot of carbs. I
You're
eat
doing the carbs though the day
whole
before you
grain
ride.
carbs. Yeah, like
Yeah, that's good.
like whole grain pastas and stuff like that.
You're so opposite from
You know,
me.
and yeah, well, I'm so opposite for myself. Just a few years ago, steak 5
But if
nights
you-
a week with a big beer or something.
Yeah, but if you're doing a bicycle, because I know carbing up tends to give you short term, a 2-hour burst, which is about right.
Yeah.
For me, I'm always a protein guy. I try to stay away from the carbs.
I do proteins
Yeah,
after my
I can't have
rides.
carbs.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but yeah, like, and there's a little trick, like the night before, if you eat a bunch of pasta, if you cook it more al dente, that way
Yeah.
it doesn't digest as fast.
Yeah, that's good. So you've
So-
got the fuel there for a while.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I did? This was stupid what I did. Of course, when you're riding across the United States, you don't have a lot of alternatives really. Some of the places you stop, you wouldn't believe, you know.
Yeah.
And but I always had the attitude, I'll eat whatever I want to. That'll be my reward. But actually, it was stupid because I wasn't fueling myself properly. You know, I'm sure.
You'd
I'm
be
sure.
slowing yourself down sometimes.
Yeah, and I
too.
thought I would lose whatever weight I had extra weight on.
But
I would lose
I'm
all
sure
of it, but I
everywhere you
didn't.
went, there, like in America, there's always a cheeseburger somewhere, right?
Yeah, I remember we stopped in Van Horn, Texas. And you know what they say when you're in Van Horn, Texas to you?
No.
When you pull into the little store to get some beef jerky, because that's what they got there, they'll say, y'all come back now. And I kept wanting to
course.
say, not on your life. You know, I stayed in luxury motels. I wasn't sleeping on the side of the...
Well, if you're
My
gonna,
dog-
Why did you
my
say
daughter-
not in your life? Why would you say
Never again will I come back here to this godforsaken home. There was places, Van Horn, Texas, there's a strip going
just
from...
lost all your listeners in Van Horn, Texas.
Well, they probably would love to come here. Come here to Hawaii. There was one.
this joke?
There was one because I love characters, and that's where you find characters. But we're going through this area for 3 days where you're kind of riding down in the. It's hilly, but you're down kind of like in a valley, and you just feel claustrophobic. And there was these carnivorous, cannibalistic grasshoppers that were eating each other, and you couldn't get around them. There were millions.
locusts or
You had to go.
something?
They were big, like the size. I mean, big, not like little grasshoppers, and they would eat each other, and I would like ride my
Oh,
bicycle
yeah, I
through them.
remember you telling me.
And then I stopped at, and every motel I stopped at on the whole trip was always like luxury motel, which is a big warning, right? Color TV, vibration bed,
Technicolor.
and all I ever did was we weren't Googling back then, right? We'd like have a map and go, hey, this one says it has a jacuzzi. There wasn't a single jacuzzi that worked on the whole.
The
Of course,
iPhone wasn't
trip.
even out then when you guys did
No, my phone bill I didn't understand about roaming charges was like
Oh, boy.
$1,900. $1,900 because we were like there was no. But I remember going to Van Horn, Texas, and the cleaning lady was there, and she said, "So y'all from Hawaii?" Because you know that was my goodbye to the mainland bicycle ride, and I moved to Hawaii the next week. And so y'all live from Hawaii? I go, well, I'm moving there. It goes, oh, I'd love to go there. I would love to travel. I've never been more than 50 miles from this town. You know?
Yeah. There's a lot of places
Yeah.
like that, like in inner United States, like in the desert,
Yeah.
like Vegas.
There's you know what?
You know,
There's
like
a
where
lot
the
of
dinosaurs are, like on the side of the road. Those people just live there in this small little town.
Yeah.
And there's like only like 50.
and they
people.
love it, and there's nothing wrong with it. I saw a
Yeah.
really sad movie recently where this woman was from a small town. I forget the name of it, but she was from a small town, and the whole point of the show is that she came back and then left again. Like that, her big and, you know, revelation was that she didn't want that she shouldn't live in a small town. She should go live in a big town. I think
Yeah.
there's
I
so
still
much
have
to that
friends
small
who've
town.
never left
feeling.
Kauai.
Yeah, Hawaii is a small town place. I mean,
And I have friends who have not left that island.
ever.
Kauai, no. The farthest they've been off is in a boat to go fishing.
And you know what's interesting? There's a lot of people that have not been to all the islands who live here. It's, you
So
know,
I knew someone in California that never went in an airplane.
Yeah.
Never ever, and he's like, I will never go in when they crash all the time.
But Hawaiians have that attitude too. That if you live on the mainland, you're really living in an island too. If you're going to go more than 150 miles, you're probably getting in an airplane anyway. So all these cities are just islands. But when you ride your bicycle across the United States, you leave San Diego, you might see a couple rivers before you get to San Antonio. Just a few little spots where there's water. There's nothing. And then you get to San Antonio, and all of a sudden you feel like you're in an oasis.
Beef jerky country.
But still, between go San Antonio, Houston, Beaumont, there's so much land out there that is not populated. We get such a wrong impression of, people who live in New York or live in L.A. or San Francisco, whatever the big cities. They think we have a overcrowding population. Well, not in most of America. There's nobody out there.
There's a lot of empty space out there. Like whenever you're flying in an airplane going over America, you just see like empty lands,
Yeah.
I always see like roads that just go nowhere. I'm like, where does that go to?
So, but you've now started competing. Are you wearing? Let's talk about what you're wearing. I want to know about this.
Well, I usually wear spandex with like a bib.
Okay, he just said he's wearing spandex with a bib.
It has a bib. It's all sewed. It's all one piece.
Oh,
and I wear a jersey.
It's
over
like
that.
lederhosen, kind of.
No, not like lederhosen.
And you have a man purse with it, a fanny pack
no,
across your chest.
No, it has the jersey has little pockets in the back.
Have you ever showed up at your bar where you bartend wearing that?
Never.
Because you would be
absolutely not. I have a hard enough time walking past Larry when I leave the house.
Yeah, I bet.
He can be. But
over that
you have
board
to wear it though.
No, you don't.
You do it. It's so comfortable.
I can tell you it's not.
I can tell you it is. It's
I tried.
Like sitting here in this chair in these board shorts, and they're creasing underneath, and I can feel the wrinkles pushing into my leg. Those things don't wrinkle. And plus, they have the big pad on the butt, so when you're doing a lot of miles.
No. All I know is I did that. I invested in that. I looked like those people, those mutant alien people that wear the bright yellow and red
they
stripes.
Look like birds,
I tried that.
I
I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand. After the third day, I went to Kmart and I bought a bunch of like really cheap gray, like the kind of shorts you used to wear at gym, like sweatshirt almost material, really light, almost like a t-shirt material. But I couldn't handle wearing those type.
Really?
Clothes. I am sorry. It didn't work. It was uncomfortable for me, especially the padded one. I would take the pads out.
Well, I don't. My seat's made out of carbon fiber, so it's not comfortable to sit on for long distances.
Well, you know how to. You need to work. You need to train your butt for that. You know how you want me to tell you the secret?
That's why I have the spandex pad.
Now listen, I'm an expert at this because I did do this cross country bicycle ride, right? So I should know. The way you do it is you train. You find a really hard bar stool, and you sit on there for hours and drink beer, and you do that for a week, maybe months before the ride. It gets your butt ready. That's how you train for it. You get a really hard bar stool and drink a lot of beer.
That's my problem.
That's what I did.
On the comfortable bar stools all the time.
See, that's it. And then you get used to that, and you wear the padded. So let's explain this to the people who don't ride. It's padded underwear. It's like a padded. It's shorts, but there's a pad and there's rubber in there.
Yeah, it's gel.
There's a gel.
I splurge on the good stuff.
But I tried that. I could not. And you know what else? Every time I would go to Duke's, I would be staying someplace, and I get to Duke's. I've been surfing. Now I got to go to Duke's. I need a tank top. So I had I had like probably 20 Duke's tank tops. By the time I got to Jacksonville, they were just trashed. They were destroyed.
Well, one thing, I don't wear cotton just because cotton doesn't breathe. So, and that's, the more heat escaping from your body, the better. And the more sweat coming away from you, the cooler you get.
Okay, let me ask you this question. When you're riding, you're drinking a lot of fluids, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel the urge to go to the bathroom while you're riding?
No, because I moderate it so I don't overhydrate myself and have to go to the bathroom. But it does happen on really long rides.
But I found for myself, because of course I was going through a lot of desert,
I
never needed to because I was sweating it all out, man.
It's very, very rare do you have to go.
Yeah, I mean, I watered a few cactus plants. And at the Continental Divide, I wanted to test the theory, right? How are you going to test that theory of half the water goes to the... So I had to...
Of course.
I emptied my reserve tank, my bladder, and I tested that theory. And I'm waiting still to see if it trickles all the way to the Pacific. But it was amazing to me that I rarely had to go. Because I was sweating it all out so much, and I drank gallons of water every day. I think the best thing about that ride for me, and probably for you too, as you ride, is It cleans out your system. When I'm doing my,
Definitely
you know,
does.
you got oxygen going into every part of your body. You know, you're circulating, getting rid of toxins and putting new stuff
Yeah,
in.
it's great exercise too. You know, I mean, it's not just working your legs because your whole upper body you have to control the bike and
Yeah, your
push
core
yourself
and
forward,
everything,
pull
yeah.
back on the hills. You know,
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But yeah, it definitely does. I have more energy when on days that I go riding.
Yeah, after you're done.
You know.
You know, here's the thing too. I would start out in the morning going, and I would just start. You know, you just put the next pedal down, and you just put the next pedal down. But after about 8 to 10 minutes,
Yeah, exactly.
you feel the blood starting to flow, and there's energy. So, like if you're in a desk job and you're feeling lethargic, or you're a student and you're studying, the best thing you can do is to get up and go for a walk, or get on a bike, or go for a surf, and all of a sudden, like your whole day is so much better. If you start out your day with some, like in the Asia, right? They all do their calisthenics in the mornings.
Yeah.
They do their Tai Chi or whatever.
It's great. Yeah, get up and just even a little bit, not just like riding or surfing. You know, anything, walking something in the morning.
Yeah.
Just to be active and
But it
get
gets your blood pumping, and then
Yeah.
don't forget your alpha brain.
And yeah.
But so now you're doing some competitions.
Yeah, I did. Last Sunday we had the 29th. Where there
Yeah.
was a race, 62 and a half miles, and
That's a long ways to
my
race.
goal was 3.5 hours, and I did it in 2 hours and 57 minutes.
Wow.
And I had a flat tire. I had to change a flat.
Wow. Oh, that's the other thing no one mentions.
Yeah, I got a flat, and it decided to start pouring torrential rain right when I got my flat. So I had
Yeah.
to change a flat in the rain, but I still did it in pretty good time. and
Maybe
got
that was
back on
good
the
because
bike.
that would have been the slower time of your run anyway in the rain.
And
Slow down a bit.
yeah, it kept raining for a while after that.
Okay, so tell me about the quick tire change. This is something people don't know about.
Well, I have carry these really cool little CO2 cartridges.
Yeah.
And they have a little cracker. You just put it on. You can put it right on the valve stem.
Yeah.
Hit it, and it inflates your tire like in half.
Yeah,
a
but you
second.
don't. How do you patch
But,
it? How do you don't replace the tube real
I
quick?
carry
right?
tubes with me.
Yeah, so you quickly replace the tube.
Yeah, and I
you
have
the
little
quick pop off.
Yeah,
rings.
quick release. They just pop off a couple turns and they slide right
It's
off.
tough when it's your back one.
How long does it take to change
was
it?
the back
How
one.
long does it take for you to change
It
it?
took about 4 minutes.
No
But
way.
it was the back one is tough
It
because
was
of all the
back
gears,
one.
right?
Yeah, but
4
just all
minutes.
you have to do is pull the derailleur back.
Yeah.
And then move the
Pop it
chain
in.
and pull the tire right off.
Yeah.
And then I have two little plastic tools I
Yeah.
stick in
Boom,
and then
boom, boom, boom.
pull
It's
one
probably
way,
kind of
one
fun,
the other
huh,
way.
when that happens. Like, oh, I get
Yeah,
to
it's
see
a
how.
challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
It's part of it. I mean, people don't think about that. And you know, I had tons of extra tires and
yeah.
inner tubes. I didn't have a single flat until I got to like San Antonio or someplace, and then I
You
had
got
like
lucky.
8. I had 8 in like 8 days.
Yeah.
And you know, I tried to ride mountain bikes in
Hey,
Molokai.
How
Yeah,
about the
go ahead.
story where you met that guy and he was going the opposite direction? Remember?
That was really
Olympic
cool.
athlete?
We should talk about that when Fawn's here. Let's do
Okay,
that when my
yeah,
daughter's here.
save that.
I would really like to hear her. We're going to talk about my ride with her.
Yeah,
That alone would be interesting.
it
Cause
would be interesting to me because I
She was your support team.
I've
it
always
was,
heard your side. I haven't really heard her side.
well, like I said, it was hard for her. It was really hard for the first week to 10 days, and then she developed an invisible friend to keep her company. But
Coconut.
yeah, but you know, that's one thing for me. Like I've paddled the Molokai Channel on my surfboard. And,
I remember when you did that.
do you?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, but
That
I mean,
was when we very first met.
it's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
about 2000 and around 2000.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying that because I never did it to try to see how fast I could go, and I rode my mountain bike. Or my bicycle. I never decided how fast I could go. Doing what you're doing, you're really pushing yourself for 2 hours and what 37.
It was 2 hours, 57 minutes, and 34 seconds was my official time.
Yeah, that is pushing yourself. I don't mind just for me. I'm a dedicated distant athlete, but I'm not trying to break any time trials. I'm mainly looking at how many miles have I covered, not how soon I've covered them. But with the GPS, the Garmin watch, you can wear a heart rate monitor. And
I was looking at one of those actually. A friend of mine came over last weekend from Maui, and he's what's called an ultra runner.
Yeah.
They do like 50-mile races,
Yeah.
up mountains and stuff like that, and they run them.
yeah,
And he has what you're talking about, the Garmin.
you have to have one.
GPS
You're
watch,
going to
heart
get one.
monitor.
You're going to have one
I-
within 6 weeks, I guarantee.
Probably, yeah.
And there, but you know, for me, I never like to run. So, but bicycling, I love walking. Okay, so let's talk about this, the zen of it. There's definitely a zen involved in that.
Oh, absolutely. It's just
It's a therapy for your mind and your soul
it's
too.
just it can be real relaxing, you know. And once you get out of town, of course, where all the
Mm-hmm.
crazies are driving around, but you know, and get out going towards Sandy Beach and that
Mm-hmm.
whole east side, and it's just so relaxing. It's nice. You couldn't be in a more beautiful place. You know,
there's
the
nothing
scenery.
more beautiful
I mean,
than that
on a
trip.
day
Yeah.
Sandy.
like today, we had just a little bit of winds this morning. There's, you know, not
Okay,
hardly
talk
a
about
cloud in the
wind.
Sky.
You know, riding up mountains is hard. There's nothing harder than riding into wind.
Yeah, but the thing
'Cause
is,
it's
if you go up a
relentless.
mountain, you get to
You
go
know,
down it too.
You
Yeah,
learn-
but I've ridden down mountains where I had to pedal down because the wind
See,
was so
wind-
strong.
Oh, yeah,
though,
that's right.
because I have an aero frame on my
Mm-hmm.
bike, which has been wind tunnel tested and designed.
Yeah, but your body
Um,
hasn't been.
But the positions I can get my body into on my bike can make it pretty
Maybe
aerodynamic.
you can, not me, man. Like a big sail.
But
Do you have one of those helmets that's like? looks
those are
like
for time trials.
Tron.
I don't have one. Mine does go back, but it's not as.
Yeah, I
extreme
wore a
as that.
helmet for the first few days too. I couldn't stand it and threw that thing off.
But well, you still always wear a helmet when you ride.
I know you should, but when you're, so you really have this down to a science how you're riding and.
You know, yeah. It's once you start doing it seriously, there's a lot of research, a lot of information out there, and I like researching things.
It's a
And
technical thing.
It's very technical.
Like most sports, when you get down, if you want to become elite, it's almost gets down to you can only do so much with your body. You got to be in shape, but technically, the technique, like just paddling a canoe properly, is amazing.
Yeah.
What it takes.
Like the race we did Sunday. You know, I'm really happy with my finish time. By all means, I'm not disappointed or anything. But there was guys that finished it in just under 2 hours and 62.5 miles. You know, that's really fast.
Right.
And so I'm kind of maybe next year I can finish it that quick.
And it may not be physical. Your physical strength and stamina may not be that much different
Has
from
a lot
them.
to
It might be.
shifting and
It might
way
be.
you're
Yeah.
passing. You know,
Yep.
if you're drafting people right behind you
Right.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's all the technical stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you're talking about wind, and today we didn't have much of a headwind. A lot of times going out that direction, as you guys both
trade
know,
winds.
the trade winds,
Yeah.
and they can get us, and they'll practically hold you still.
Even on your motorcycle, you'll feel it kind
Yeah.
of tip
it's
you
real-
over.
But a headwind, I don't mind a headwind because the way I look at it is it's going to build my stamina, and of course I love tailwinds.
And it's relentless, though. The wind is. It
but
does
it's
build
the
your
side
stamina.
winds that get.
Yeah.
Because you get a side gust. My
It's
bike
true.
only weighs 14 pounds.
Wow.
So if I get one good side gust,
Yeah.
then whoosh.
Like on a
you know.
motorcycle too. It'll
Exactly.
yeah.
You know, so but the wind isn't really much of a factor.
But
unless
this
it's
has become a
side wind.
real love for you now. And
Oh,
but the
absolutely.
zen of it is, I know for me, like I did a lot of my riding in that particular journey at night because it was record breaking heat during the first 8 days. But there's a sort of a zen you get into. You know what I mean? Where you're just kind of in the zone and you're
Yeah,
you're almost.
I know exactly.
Tell me what.
Yeah.
Describe that.
It's well, that's hard to describe. It's just, but you get where you're going, and you look down at your speedometer and you realize you're going 6-7 miles an hour faster than you thought you were.
Yeah.
You know, or like you get to the top of a hill that you've timed yourself on before, and you realize you did it way faster than you
Yeah.
did before. You know, that's
Yeah.
that's my zen. It's like accomplishing it a little bit faster or a little
Yeah.
bit, better shifting. Oh, I made it up this hill that much better, so I know how to manipulate the gears better. You know, it's just,
It's like for me when I there's a prayer that I do. It's an ancient Christian prayer. It's called the Jesus prayer. The monks of the desert did it back in the 2nd centuries, and people still do that today. I have them in here someplace. They're just 100 beads, and you just say the name of Jesus. You say Jesus, Lord Jesus, and you breathe them. No, that's a different set. And it kind of looks like a rosary, but it's not. But in praying that prayer, Jesus, Lord Jesus, and you breathe, you just keep saying his name and you're breathing out and you kind of just fall into this meditation of his face. Pedaling a bicycle, that rhythm of the stroke or walking on the beach, I find the cares and worries of the world is kind of fading. Sometimes initially you're kind of dealing with them. You've got your brain, your left side of your brain is really busy and it's talking at you and got to deal with that issue. I wonder what this issue's about. But it starts to fade as your body starts to really work, and you're focusing more on one more stroke, rounding that curve. Your mind is going off of this cares and worries of the world. And then as I'm riding, I might be thinking, I got this uneasy feeling. Where is it coming from? And as you're pedaling, you realize it's because of that circumstance with that person yesterday. What was that about? And for men especially, it's hard to get in touch with our feelings. And it's just like you go a little bit deeper and go, oh, you know what? I was not being sensitive to that person when I said this or kind of didn't respond to them in that way. And okay, well, now I'm going to go back and I'll fix that. So there's kind of this first level of just thinking about the cares and worries of the world, got to pay those bills, got to do this, got to do that, and then those kind of fade away as the effort becomes stronger and more steadier. Those kind of fade away, and then there's those feelings kind of arise, and you kind of meditate. Well, what is that feeling about? Maybe it's just because I had pizza for dinner and didn't set right. And then there's that place that goes even a little bit deeper, where all of a sudden you go, where did the last 10 miles go?
Yeah.
And you're just living in the now.
It's definitely, yeah. I know
do you know what I'm talking about? Tell me about
There's
that.
Times when I've got home and coming back over Diamond Head, and I know, okay, this is almost the end of the ride. And there's been times when I've literally just went, well, okay, and looped back around Diamond Head and went and did another 15 or 20 miles just because you don't want it to be over yet.
Yeah.
You know, and you do a much better job of describing it than I ever could. But
you know what I mean. There's that peaceful
exactly
place, and you're living in the now, which is the greatest place. My life search is basically looking for that opportunity to live in the moment, and that's why I think surfers have this great. The thing about surfing is it's anywhere from 5 to 20-second ride usually. And in that moment, when you're riding, you're really not usually thinking about anything but just the experience.
Surfing, yeah.
You're living in that moment. Jumping out of an airplane does that to you too, you know. Or for me, taking off while I'm piloting a plane, that's pretty intense too.
Oh, sure.
But I think we look in life, making love is like that. You know, there's those moments where you're just, and prayer can be like that. When you're just, and I think smoking weed sometimes can be like that for people. But I think people look for that transcendental, that moment of when they're just in the now. And I go back to, you know, Jesus' name is I am who am, salvation, you know. There's just that now of God, that Zen of God, you know.
When you're surfing, yeah, it's all...
In other words, when I'm riding my bicycle, and I rode my bicycle like that in the mountains, when I did those different bicycle rides, the cares and the worries of the world tended to fade away, and more eternal things tended to be kind of not things, but more of a eternal sort of... What's the right word? Eternal isn't the right word either, but
I don't know.
Trans, something beyond the earth, kind of.
Like, not material.
That's it. What would the word be?
I don't know.
Zen, I guess.
It's a great word.
We'll just go with Zen. Yeah.
Let's just go with Zen. So where do you want to go with your bicycling? Do you have ambition to compete more, or is it?
I do. More distance. I would like to do. I've been researching. They have rides on the mainland like you did, but they do group ones now.
Yeah, they were doing them then.
And you can, fly there, and you can meet up with another group of like-minded people.
And you can do it.
And you can do 10, 12 days or whatever. Make that your vacation.
Yeah, do the Rockies. I would, the beautiful ride would be from Seattle over, but you can do it 10 days at a time. You can go meet another group the next time. You don't have to do it all at one time like I did. You can do it, 2 weeks at a time. But it's great I think when you go in groups. But for me, I liked going by myself. Yeah. So I got another question to ask you about. You have a very fascinating, I think, interesting occupation, and I love where you work. Can you tell us all about where you work, what you do? And I want to hear about certain.
Arnold's. Well, I bartender. I've been a bartender in Hawaii for about 16 years now.
Yeah.
And I love it. I wouldn't trade it for any other job, except maybe sitting at home getting paid or something.
Yeah, but I mean,
I wouldn't trade it for anything.
And this is like a true tiki bar. I mean, really,
I work at Arnold's Beach Bar. Yeah, right in Waikiki. It's
you got to look for it. You're not going to just bump into it. You got to find
35 years or so.
Describe exactly where it is. I want people to come in and say hi to Jeffery.
Right on Saratoga Avenue, behind the Eggs and Things restaurant, across from the Waikiki post office.
Right, and so you kind of want it's kind of in a little corner almost. You got to want to find it.
You have to. We don't have. Yeah, the sign is 50 feet off the
Anthony
sidewalk.
Bourdain would love this place. We got to go again because
I think that's where he got his Aloha shirt in that one episode.
In that area.
Yeah, he got
right
Aloha
in that area.
shirt like right in the area. Yeah.
Well, he went to the store on Kapahulu.
Oh, he did?
They have a sign in the window. I only know that because I walked past it the other day and seen it.
Okay.
But Anthony Bourdain, do you agree this would be the place?
He would love it.
This is where he should have gone, was your place. Only locals are there for the most part. Or people that come.
90% locals.
Or people that come every year.
People that come every year. That's exactly what it is. But you talk about famous people. The actor Damon Wayans.
Love him.
Okay, you guys know it.
Yeah.
I guess he was staying at the Trump, or maybe he bought a place at the Trump.
Yeah, it's right down from the Trump now.
And he came in one night, and it was very quiet, so he went and sat in a corner, him and two guys, and they ordered drinks, and I was kind of cracking jokes with him and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, he came in again the next night.
Yeah.
And I was real flattered he remembered my name. He said, "Hey, Jeffrey, how are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Wayne." "Oh, please call me Damon, And so I bought him a drink the next night. Well, he came in a third night. And third night, we were a little bit busier. It was Thursday. A little bit busier, and people are kind of looking at him. He walks in, You know how the bar's in the back and you have to come around that corner
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
It made my night. He walks in, he goes, "Hey, Jeffrey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh, you're friends with Damon Wayans?"
Oh, yeah.
That's
We
awesome.
go way back.
Yeah, and he comes over, and I was like, "The usual?" He's like, "The usual." And so I gave him
Oh,
the
how
glass.
cool.
Yeah.
That's so
But isn't
cool.
it interesting that he chose that bar?
It just has such a good feeling to it.
It's
you
just
know,
a little
and
place.
I've never seen any negativity or like a bar. You know, people go there and they get drunk and sometimes things happen. But I've never seen anything bad happen in Arnold's. You know, it was, I don't know if you know, but that building used to be the royal family's horse stables.
Tell us about that.
And that's really about all I know. It's used to be the royal family's horse stables, and then of course
Yeah.
when things happened, they sold the raffled off or auctioned off the royal family's land.
Yeah.
That went and people bought it.
Wow.
But, yeah, and there's maybe 1 or 2 beams left from original
Describe what the
construction.
bar looks like. I mean, it's just so cool. And the people there
Well,
are
yeah,
so
it's
cool.
About 12 seats at the bar, and it's a nice spruce top bar. It's just tiki la hala all over the walls, surfboards all over the ceiling, the glass fishing floats. We have all those
Yeah.
hanging from the
It wasn't
ceiling.
like some designer from LA came out and designed this bar.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Things have been put there. Like
This thing happened
a
more.
few of the surfboards have been like from bartenders that don't work there anymore.
Yeah, they used to
and
bring
they
them-
just go, "Here you go. I'm just going to put it up there."
Well, a lot of guys too. They bring
they-
you bring your board, right, and then you go surf
You
and then
can
bring
go
your
for a
board there.
surf,
And one
yeah.
day they forget to bring.
And then they just leave the board there. Like, I'm not going to bother taking it down. So they've
Yeah.
ended up part of the decoration. We have our hula mannequin. You know, the girl in
Yes.
the corner who's the topless Hawaiian lady, the grass skirt. That I bet she has more pictures taken of her than Duke Kahanamoku's statue.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But yeah, and it's just a little tiki bar. We're always playing Hawaiian music. We have live music by some of the greatest local artists in town.
That's the beauty of Hawaii,
almost
man.
every night. You know, just
For example,
one guy, Chris Murphy.
yeah,
You know, he sits there with his guitar and or Natural Tea at Tom Gillickson.
yeah.
You know, and those guys play some amazing old blues and roots
Yeah.
rock, you know, and
Yeah.
jazzy stuff.
Oh,
And
we
it's
should have brought
just,
Daryl Mansfield in, huh, Shane?
It is. I mean, the people that have been going there have been going there since they first found it.
That's
and they
exactly right.
went somewhere else, and it's a neighborhood bar. I work a couple
I've
day
gotta
shifts,
start
a couple
going there
night
more.
shifts,
Yeah.
and what I love about it is I'm going to
Okay.
know 90% of the people that work there.
Are you on
Or
Twitter?
that come in and drink there.
Are you
one
on
morning.
Twitter?
I'm not.
You need a Twitter every time you're going to work.
I do put it on Facebook though.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Good.
do make some little
I'm
comment
on my way,
and say,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there should be like a beeper that says, because I always want to go there, but I never know when you're going to be there, and I don't know how to get there. It's like a secret spot almost to walk around. We got to go there more often.
Yeah,
And so,
and it's cheap too, you know.
Oh, my
where else
God.
are you going to get a beer for $3?
but you
and
have
one
some
cheap?
poo-poos like, or was it like popcorn or chips or what do you have?
Popcorn. We have a big popcorn machine, and we
remember
have
that.
hot dogs with all the like jalapeno
That's all you
sauerkraut,
need.
stuff like that. Well,
Anthony
we just-
Bourdain goes to that. I hate to put it down, but
Puka
that,
dog.
oh my God!
You and I had a discussion about
Same
Puka dog
exact.
the other day.
Maybe we shouldn't put it down by name,
Yeah.
but you and I had the exact same experience. It seemed like
Yeah.
and I don't know how he should have come to your place and had a real
we
hot
cook our
dog,
hot
'cause he
dogs
likes
in
hot
beer.
dogs. You do?
We cook them in
That's why it tastes so
Primo,
good.
Hawaiian
Primo,
Island
the
lager.
original
Yeah.
Hawaiian beer
Yeah,
that went away, and then came back about 4 years ago.
and came back, and it's really strong comeback too. That they're supporting a lot of local island sports and stuff.
I know
like
they were
paddling
talking.
and surfing.
I sat next to the guy who was the PR guy when we were having our first world title for tandem surfing.
Matty Lou. The
No,
pro
I know
surfer?
Matty. I know. No, it was before then.
Oh, he's doing a lot of PR for him now.
Yeah,
too.
this was the guy from the mainland.
Oh, okay.
And they were doing their first taste testing, and I said, "Come on, sponsor tandem surfing." But unfortunately, it was the Duke Ocean Fest, and they already had a beer sponsor. So, but yeah, so Primo, it brings back memories.
Oh yeah, it was my first beer I ever drank was a Primo.
Are you serious? Tell me about that. Where were you when that happened?
On Kauai, and my father was having a barbecue. All the uncles,
Yeah.
and everything, and
Hawaiian barbecue.
Of course, he sends me to the truck to grab the case of beer out.
How old
'cause
were
they're
you?
Running low. I was 12 years old, and sends me up to the truck. He's like, "Hey, go get another case of beer out of the back of the truck." So I go up and get it. And me and my cousin, I was like, "Let's have one." Like, well, they're
God.
gonna notice it's missing. I'm like, no, we'll break the case apart and pretend like we dropped them. So we'll just carry them back in our arms, and they won't
Yeah.
look at it. So I'm like, let's. And so
See, already the gift is coming out.
So we each took like 2 or 3 drinks out of it, and first taste of beer ever, and it was
tastes horrible, yeah.
disgusting. And so I remember pouring the rest of it in a circle around us. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, here we gotta have the circle. There we go. Now we won't get in trouble.
Right, like a circle of
Yeah,
protection.
like protection thing. And took them the beer, and we never got caught. They probably knew, but they never said anything. But yeah.
Well, so tell us a little bit more interesting things as a counselor. I mean, a bartender.
As a I actually was talking to this guy the other night, and I heard someone down the way go, "Oh, you have to be a social worker when you're working, also, don't you?"
Yeah.
Yeah, because this guy was, and he wasn't that drunk. He didn't seem, but we have one of those internet jukeboxes, and if you hit one of the buttons that says sign up, then you can sign up for an online thing, and you can play your own playlist and all that.
Wow, I never heard of that.
Well, or you just walk over and hit play.
You ever heard of that?
Yeah,
Shane?
totally. I've seen them at some bars.
Yeah, they're really cool, and you can just like come in.
Well, I'm not cool. That's why I don't know about it.
Plays like any music anywhere.
You just make your own playlist. Come in, put in $5, and it plays all your songs. But and this guy, he doesn't have it, but he kept hitting the sign up button, and he goes, and you're supposed to put in your name, right? So he'd start typing in the names of the songs he wants to hear.
Oh, instead of his name.
Well, it got up to the 6th time where I had to tell him, "Don't hit that button anymore," and people were getting a kick out of it because I was like, "Okay, don't hit that button. Just hit the other one." There's no sense in losing your temper, or being rude to him. I was kind of finding it amusing, and that's when the lady's like, "Oh, you got to be a social worker here for these people sometimes."
Yeah.
But it's a great place to work. There's always characters in there.
Yeah.
Always characters. I had a gentleman come in one day, and the journalist / author Hunter S. Thompson, right?
Yeah.
This guy was a spitting image of Hunter S. Thompson. And I've always been a fan of his books and whatnot. Well, this guy kind of acted like him too. Comes in, sits down. He's got a Aloha shirt, wide open. Got the comb over,
hair,
kind of sweaty and whatnot. And first
any
thing he
jewelry?
Does is no. First thing he does is introduce himself. His name was Matthew. And I introduced, "Oh, how you doing?" He said, "Oh, the PBR and a shot of dark rum, please."
Okay, what's a PBR?
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Okay.
A pint of Pabst Blue Ribbon. So I pour him, set him down. He takes a sip, and I said, "Okay, it's going to be $6, Matthew." And he pulls out a stack of money, about 3 inches thick, and has 100 on top. And he peels 100 off. He goes, "Here you go, around for the bar and keep the change." I was like, "Okay." There's only 2 other people at the bar.
Yeah.
So I was like, "All right," and I get another $6, and then I keep $94 or whatever as tip. Well, he did this 7 times. I ended up making $700 off this guy.
Wow.
I'd say, yeah. And he'd leave that stack of money sitting on the bar, and he'd go out and have a cigarette.
No.
He'd go up.
Oh, that's cool.
And he just felt comfortable. He's like, okay. And that had to be, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000, and it's a big stack of hundreds.
Wow.
But yeah, and he'd come back, buy another round for the bar.
Okay, give us the backstory. Do you ever wonder what the real story is? Do you ever make up stories in your mind about who these people
are? It was right
are?
around the Super Bowl time, so I'm thinking maybe he won a bet or something.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, but I mean, he was a little off too because he was talking about bull riding, and
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
He showed us how you ride a bull using a girl.
Well, doesn't PBR mean?
Her purse.
But doesn't PBR mean professional bull rider?
Yeah.
All right, we're getting
there
it.
was a couple came in and this girl had her purse and he demonstrated how you ride a bull. He sat on her purse.
No.
Without even asking her, and he goes, "You do this and you grab it like this and he's waving this and he had bought him 4 rounds already, and they're just everyone's laughing at him and that was a pretty interesting day.
And a lot of these characters come in, you really don't know whether to believe them or not because some of it. Well, it seems so outrageous, but then wait a minute, he's got this stack of.
Yeah, well, he never put anything out that he was this guy or anything. Just introduced himself and said he wanted to have a good time.
Yeah,
kept playing the jukebox, and I never seen him since then.
Yeah, we were at a tiki bar in Cocoa Beach, Florida, which I love. Cocoa Beach,
good little surf.
We consider everything between here and there flyover country, and there's a little tiki bar there, and just the same, cast of crew would come in every day, and it's just like seats like maybe 8 to 12 people. And I also love to go to the yacht club here, the one on this side, and I always get it mixed up. The one that's closest to us,
Hawaii Yacht Club.
I forget. It's the one closest to us, not the one on the other side of the bridge.
Hawaii Yacht Club.
Love that.
Yeah, that's Waikiki Yacht Club.
I love that one because I love to just sit there and just be eating dinner or something and pretend like I'm not listening to the conversation at the next table. But it's mind-blowing stuff about these guys' adventures, these people's adventures, sailing.
Oh, absolutely.
So you've heard a lot of... You should write a book.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never thought about doing anything like that.
But I mean, give us a couple more interesting characters. Because people are going up there. Your job is to process their emotions. They're celebrating or they're sad.
Yeah, so they're either in a great mood or a bad mood. But then there's the people that we have. Like there's one guy, and just call him Mark. Mm-hmm. He owns this chair. People will come in and he's not there yet, and they purposely won't sit there because they know when
Mark's chair.
Mark's going to sit there.
I love that. Yeah.
And that guy, he has stories about what he did in his youth. He's in his 50s now, but I mean, he can just tell story after story about old Waikiki, and
I love those kind of stories.
Yeah, and that guy,
Those are the
he's a
best.
real character, and it's funny because
I love characters.
it's got to the point now where if I work a day shift and he doesn't show up till 3, I start worrying at 2:30. I'm like, is he okay? I haven't
Really?
seen him for a while.
It's his living room.
And basically, yeah.
Bars are, I used to be, actually, I want to tell you, I never really hung out at bars at all till in the late 90s. I mean, when I was in college, I was too busy to think about, didn't have the money to think about it. Then I was married when I was young, and I think I would have a beer maybe once a month, And to me, a bar, I always thought, oh, it's a bar. Like that was a bad connotation. But really, it's a great place for people who, it's a family.
And to be social,
The one you're talking about, like after I surf, I used to have the habit before I was married is I would surf and ride my last wave into the beach by Duke's, and I would go up and I would get a draft beer and I would drink half of it. That's all I needed to cut the salt taste. And I have my little spot there that I always look at the sunset and then paddle my surfboard home. But some of these places, they're just the folks, just most comfortable, most wonderful.
Yeah, I love working.
Places.
It's the
Arnold's is definitely
favorite
one of
bar
those.
I've ever worked at in my entire life. It's just so nice and
Yeah.
mellow. And all my coworkers are really great people. They love bartending too.
So they can look for that on.
You can find it on Yelp.
Can you find it? Oh, okay. Can
you
you find it on a Google Map and?
Google Maps.
Can you
but
check
won't
in at
see
Arnold's?
anything.
Can you check in at
on
Arnold's?
Facebook, you can check in at Arnold's Super Fun Ghetto Dive Bar.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So we got to give it out for Arnold's. You guys got to come down.
That's the bar to go to.
See
when you come out here
Jeffrey.
in Hawaii.
It is,
We're gonna have
yeah.
now. You started out by singing the most romantic song. Playing the most romantic song in Hawaii,
Well, thank you.
White Sand Beach of Hawaii. And here, there's 3 guys here. So the more appropriate song would be Hawaiian Superman. I think that would be more appropriate for the manliness of the men sitting here in this room.
Okay.
We have Jeffrey. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay, he's gonna play a little more ukulele for us. Song about Maui. No. Yeah, Maui. The mythological god of Hawaii who captured the sun with a big hook and brought it down. How did that all happen? Yeah. How does that happen? He captured the sun and...
Before there was a Clark Kent, there was a
Hawaiian Superman.
Yeah, that's my
Maui.
problem. I'm not a good singer when I sing at home in front of my wife and my dog.
Next time we should let you, because we don't care. I mean, we had Hall of Fame Daryl Mansfield here a couple weeks ago, and then we have you here this week. We're just having this is backyard patio. Bring out the ukulele.
Relaxing.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This is a good time.
Wonderful, and we'll hope we can do it again.
It
Yeah,
was
Absolutely.
Good to have you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So how do we end this? How do we take this horse into the barn?
Well, I just want to first thank you, Shane, and thank you, Bear, for having me over here.
Right on, man.
Bear, I always love seeing you. We never plan seeing each other. We just always bump into each other.
Yeah, but we never we never really have long talk. I'm gonna come over to your barn more often.
And
I love you, and I love hanging out with you, and we just never do it.
Yeah.
Now we're all married up now.
All married up now.
We got to get our women together.
Yeah. And it's something always seems to happen. Like Melanie picked up a shift. Tylen wasn't feeling. Just. But we will definitely one of these days all get together, have a dinner or something.
We were going to start having a policy that if you're going to be on our podcast, you have to go surf with us first.
Okay.
Before the podcast.
I think I could handle that.
Maybe we could do that. So we'd like to say aloha to everyone. Huh, Shane?
Yeah, say goodbye.
It's just so good to be in
goodbye.
Hawaii, and the beautiful thing about Hawaii is how often we see people. They say home is where the heart is. Well, my heart's fractured. It's all over the world because we've met so many people here in the islands that come to visit us and then they go home. But this is one of our, and we love it when they show up on the beaches again. But this is one of our ways for our hearts to connect with our friends that are all over the world. And we love everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Aloha.
Thank you. Aloha.